All right, today we're going to dive into a really cool tale from the ancient Panchatantra. It's a story all about whispers in the dark, a secret that's been hidden for years, and, well, a fear that isn't quite what it seems. So our story kicks off deep in a forest, where one particular secret has kept an entire community of animals living in absolute terror. And right at the heart of this whole mystery is this ancient banyan tree. But listen, this is no ordinary tree. The moment the sun goes down, it changes. It holds a secret that has terrified the forest for generations. I mean, look at this. By day, it's totally peaceful. You've got birds nesting in its branches, kids playing in its shade. But the second night falls, it's like a switch is flipped. The songs turn to dead silence, peace turns into pure panic, and this beautiful haven becomes a place of horror. Even the mighty tiger, he avoids its shadow. To try and make sense of something so scary, the animals started weaving their own stories. Some whispered it was the ghost of some wicked king. Others were convinced it was a powerful curse. These legends, they were born from fear, but they quickly became the forest's accepted truth, like a shared nightmare they were all forced to live under. But here's the thing. Not everyone was buying it. And that brings us to Neil, a young jackal who is super clever, super curious, but his most defining trait? A dangerous, almost reckless amount of pride. And that quote, that's Neil in a nutshell. While all the other animals were trembling in fear, he was just scoffing at them. He saw their fear not as something real, but as a weakness. To him, the whispers were just wind, and the spooky legends, just stories for cowards. And he was absolutely determined to prove it. And so, that very night, driven by pure ego, Neil does what no other animal would even dream of doing. He sets off all alone, walking directly into the shadow of the so-called haunted tree to confront this mystery head-on. So what happens next? Well, it's a huge moment for Neil. All that confidence is about to collide with a force that is way stronger than he ever imagined. This is where his pride completely shatters. Suddenly, the whole forest just goes silent. You can feel it. Every cricket, every rustling leaf, it's like everything is holding its breath, just watching to see what happens when pride challenges the great unknown. And with every single step he takes, the tension just builds and builds. Neil is completely alone out there, pushing deeper into the heart of the forest's greatest fear, his bravado fighting a losing battle with this growing sense of dread. And then it happens. A whisper carried on the wind, but it's not just some random sound. It's his name. And in that instant, this vague, shared fear becomes intensely personal and undeniably real. That one word was all it took. Neil just turned and ran. He ran blindly, desperately, not stopping until the sun came up. In that moment, the arrogant skeptic was just gone. In his place was an animal who had just learned a very powerful and very humbling lesson. Fear, he discovered, was real. Oh, it was very real. Now, humbled and completely shaken, Neil does something really smart. Instead of just hiding from his fear, he decides to seek wisdom. And this decision leads him right back to the tree, but this time, he has a totally new strategy. He goes to see Vritha, the wise old owl, who gives him this piece of incredible insight. Fear isn't just a weakness you need to ignore. It's a signal. It's telling you to pay closer attention. Vritha basically reframes the whole experience, telling Neil he has to learn to tell the difference between a genuine threat and a really clever trick. So, this is a completely changed Neil. The pride is gone, and it's been replaced by a quiet patience. He goes back to the very place that terrified him, but he's not there to challenge the darkness anymore. He's there to understand it. So he hides, he watches, and most importantly, he listens with a brand new purpose. And this is the breakthrough moment. Neil notices two things that are totally out of place. First, the whispering sound isn't coming from the branches high up. It's coming from below the ground, from the roots. And then he sees it, a flicker of man-made light. And that single observation just shatters the whole supernatural story. I mean, ghosts don't carry torches, do they? And here it is, the whole scheme laid bare. It wasn't magic at all. It was just a really smart trick. A group of thieves had set up this clever acoustic system using hollow bamboo pipes buried underground. When the wind blew just right, it made these spooky whispering sounds, and by using names they'd overheard during the day, they weaponized the animals' own identities against them. It was the perfect, fear-based security system for their stolen treasure. So now that the truth is out, the story moves towards its end. Neil's discovery is about to change everything for the forest, and we get to unpack the timeless lessons that this whole tale was designed to teach us. Right away, Neil tells the Lion King what he found. The thieves are caught, their stolen loot is returned to the village, and just like that, the curse is lifted. The haunted tree goes back to being just a tree, and this long, dark period of terror finally comes to an end. So what's the first big lesson here? Well, it's about the entire forest community. For years and years, they were basically prisoners of a fear they never once stopped to investigate. Their terror, because it was left unexamined, allowed them to be manipulated and pretty much enslaved. And this brings us right back to Neil on that first night. Yeah, he had plenty of courage, but it was driven by pure arrogance, not by any kind of real understanding. And that blind courage, it led him straight into terror and humiliation. It wasn't bravery, it was just foolishness. Okay, and this is the final and maybe the most important lesson of all. Neil's success didn't come from his bravery on the second night. It came from his patience. He stopped, he watched, he gathered information, and only then did he really understand what was going on. That is the mark of true intelligence. And all of this leaves us with one final thought. We all have haunted trees in our own lives, fears, assumptions, maybe rumors that we just accept without ever questioning them. This story is a great reminder to be a little more like Neil on his second night, to just pause, observe, and maybe, just maybe, discover the real truth that's hiding in the roots.